Good morning. So, good. Um, so, uh, this video is going to be, so it's Martin Luther King Day. Awesome. Super stoked about Martin Luther King Day. I mean, except for that we need a Martin Luther King Day. But I mean, it's great to bring thoughts to that and make that happen. But that does mean no gym because school is closed. So, we're going to do a little bit of a intro video. So as you guys know, I want to start the Winter Thrive Camp today. I did a shitty job of getting marketing to everybody and getting everybody geared up for today being the start, but I'm going to start it anyway. And I'm going to start with the moves, a lot of basic moves, just going over stuff. I've got a few new people in the camp who've never done the dynamic or not never did the dynamic warm-up back in the day but don't remember it. So I'm going to really slowly go through the dynamic warm-up. And then I'm going to go through, your basic exercises that you see in every workout. Now, obviously, I'm going to change it up for the workouts. I make stuff up all the time, but these are just basic exercises that I always use. And I'm going to walk through the cueing because my challenge to myself is to see if, so I have a client, her name is Patricia, and she's blind. And I wonder if she can get on these videos and follow along because my verbal cueing is so good. That's what I'm working for. So I'm going to try to do it so that you don't have to watch it. That's the hope. Yo, Jane, what's up? I wonder where Pete Zimke is. Where's Pete? That's all good. All right. So we're going to really slowly go through the dynamic warm-up for our new people who haven't done it in for fucking ever, right? A hell of a long time. And I'm going to try to verbally go through it. Oh, all right. Let's see. Can we see? Can we see my feet? It's always hard. It's always challenging in the living room because of the space. But, c'est la vie. All right. So always we start with this one, right? I love it. I can't help it. So what you want is to make sure your knees are as open as you can get them. So, right, if you're looking from the side and I'm coming down, my knees, except for I'm falling over, my knees are as open as I can get them. My toes are pointed out to the sides. I'm trying to get my hips down level with the knees. Now, you might not be able to get there, right? That's okay. So push those knees out first and sink in to wherever you can. Forgot to put my sneakers on. The hell are my sneakers? So anyway, you're getting down low and you're holding it down low. You're really working the warmth of the quads and the stretch of that good old crotch. You can put your hands on your knees, and then what you're doing is you're creating some traction from the tailbone up into the base of the skull with a twist. I'm going to put my sneakers on. They're right here. Fear not. I don't know how I missed that piece of my morning preparation. I'm going to slide all over this rug. Alright, so you're down wide. Oftentimes I'm going to have you shift back and forth because I'm trying to get you to lengthen out the hamstrings. Warm up the quads and lengthen out the hamstrings. So how these dynamic warm-up moves work is this. There's a cool thing called the Golgi complex. That means when the quads are flexing, there's a chemical signal sent from the quads to the reciprocating force couple, right? Muscles all work in a force coupling. That means when the one side of the leg is flexing, which is the quad, it sends a chemical to the hamstring to say, release. So I'm flexed, and I'm stretching, and I'm working on the one side, and I'm getting that Golgi complex chemical signal to lengthen through the opposite muscle group. So the traction thing. And I think this one's a hard thing to understand. So your knees are down low. Let me pull up my pantalones here. Your knees are down low. You put your hands on your knees and you straighten them up and you literally let go of the core and you brace yourself or hang yourself from your shoulders, right? And then what you're getting is traction through the spine. Each vertebrae has an opportunity to get a little space between it, right? So you're allowing those vertebrae to get space, and then with the twisting, you have a little space, and you're twisting, so you're getting those ligaments and those muscles to not just release, but then also stretch around. Or that's, oh, and it pops and it cracks. So that's what I mean by hanging the hips from the shoulders, trying to release the lower lumbar and get that rotation. Oh, so good. And then, let's see, I think Pete just joined me. Pete! Awesome. So Pete, I'm just going through all of the dynamic warm-up exercises, and you've done them. So watch the beginning of this at the end. So where are we right now? We're stretching out knees to the side, and you're really trying to get those knees as far out as possible. This is essentially the first exercise, Pete, so you haven't really missed that much. The arms are locked straight so that you're creating traction in the spine, and then with the rotation of the shoulders, that space of the vertebrae is then getting twisted. The dynamic warm-up goal is to not just warm up the big muscles, but to lengthen out the force couples of muscles. All right, good. So we were down like this, and oftentimes I would do this. I'll do lengthening to side, holding down low, and you're just getting warm. Like my heart rate's rising just hanging out here. Da, 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 da. Good. And then usually I have you put your hips up high. So our feet are wide, our hips are up high like this. Now, I'm trying to get length through the backs of the legs, right? So I'm actually going to point my toes in. Can you see toes? I'm sure you can. But I want the toes to point in, right? Yeah, we can see them. You want the toes to point in. You want the belly button to stay forward. So when you fold, you're folding a flat body. And Pete, this is actually great for you because you have tight hamstrings, if I recall correctly. So you want to start by pushing that tailbone back, pushing the weight of your ass back. Notice my hips are behind my ankles. My toes are in, and I don't do that every single time, but it helps lengthen around the ankle, through the calf, and up through the backs of the legs, through the hamstrings. So notice my back is nice and flat. When you do almost any exercise bent over in my camp, the back has to be flat, and this is why. If you're doing weights, right, and you're rowing like this, and your back is like curled like this because your tight hamstrings and your tight ass, it's going to pull on your spine, and it pushes your lower lumbar up to the ceiling. And then your core is weak, it's folded over, and you're really more likely to hurt yourself. So whenever we're doing a bent over exercise, either with feet together or feet wide, push the belly button forward, keep that flat back, point the tailbone behind you, and find that flat, like so. Now I'm getting a stretch all the way through the back side. If my toes are in, it gets even more intense. And then I can do any exercise in the bent over realm like this and protect that lower lumbar. Right now for dynamic warm-up, I just want you to fold like that with that flat back. Then I usually have you shift side to side. I change it all the time. But really small shifts back and forth. Not only are you warming up the big muscles with that low quad hold, low sumo hold, then you're also coming in and just gently lengthening out the sides and the wraparound muscles of your legs. You're warming up the core because you're nice flat back, and it's a little back and forth. I might have you come down low into a leg and pick up a toe. Ooh, then you're getting that inner thigh, right? Enjoying it. Oh, I forgot. I'm supposed to be doing this in a fashion that a blind person could follow the video. Let me make an adjustment. So, your feet are wide, your hands are on the floor, your back is flat, eyeballs are forward, and we're just shifting left and right into and over the legs. Good. And then I'm going to have you collapse all the way down. That's when you release the lower lumbar. You're sitting here, you release, and just pendulum easy, because it feels good. A little less intentional, just kind of playful. Good. Then we go into the plank. So, we're here, we walk out a little bit. No, we don't go into the plank, we go into a wide-legged down dog. Again, my toes are pointed in because I'm getting more of a stretch, but I won't do that every single time. And when I say, in the warm-up, when I say down dog, and then I say push the shoulders back towards the toes, this is what I'm talking about. Alright? You're in a down dog, and you want to get a long line from the hips to the fingertips, right? And most of us do the down dog kind of like this, right? Where we're kind of forward, and we're not really getting much of a stretch except for in the calves, right? And that's good. Okay, that's awesome. It's a great place to start. You can pedal those calves. But if I really want to get a down dog, I want to shift the hips back as far as I can. I want the line from my hips to my fingertips to be straight, or from the hips to the heels of my hands to be straight. And I want to push the shoulders towards the toes in order to get a hyperextension, a stretch through the chest and a stretch through the upper back. So, pushing back, getting the heels down, getting those the tailbone you want sitting and pushing up into the sky, and the heels you want pushing down. So you're like super lengthening the back side of those legs, right? Point the tailbone up, heels down, and then try to pick up the toes. Pick up the toes into the shins, you get even more stretch through the backs of the legs. Good. Then I have us, and this is more seamless with less talking during the actual workouts. So we're up in wide-legged down dog, and I'll have you walk out into plank, right? Nice, long, strong plank. And always, almost always, I'm going to put my heel next to my hand. So I'm bringing my right foot right next to my hand. I'm going to make sure we can see this well. So my right foot is right next to my hand. If you look at this line, the line from my back heel to my front knee is fairly straight, right? And that knee is right next to my shoulder. Both my hands are flat on the floor, and my shin is parallel with my forearms. Now, this is a great hip opener. Say you can't get here exactly. You kind of come up and you get to one of these situations. Not quite where we want to be, but you try by pulling that foot forward. In order to get down into it, just back the back foot up. Drop down and in, lift the head and chest, and then shift in and out of this. If it's uncomfortable, give yourself a little space. You might need a chair. You could do a chair where you're up on that knee and you're shifting back and forth like this. Right? Good. Let's see that head on. Knee right next to the shoulder, working that shift back and forth. Now, what is this doing exactly? Why are we doing this heinous exercise? One, I want to open up these hips, right? I want the quad of the back leg to be stretched. And as we go through this sequence, you'll see we get other stuff. But head on view, I'm going to then ask you to straighten the front leg. Straighten the front leg with the toe pointed. Again, I'm going to shift directions here. So we were down in plank like so, and then straighten the front leg, lift the hips up, lengthen the back leg, drive the back heel down as hard as you can, and keep the front toe pointed. Now you're really stretching the whole backside around the hips and up into the lower back, the calf, and the back as well. Good. And then I'm going to say open and shut the hips. What does that mean? Basically, as you're looking me straight on, let's see if I can do it so you can see it. Maybe not. Shift back, open the hips up. You're going to feel that stretch on the inner thigh. And then as I shift forward, I'm folding the hip into the inner thigh of the other leg. And you're going to feel that stretch come around to the other side of the hamstring. Right? So open and shut those hips. Maybe this is a better view. Front leg straight. And then there we go. So you open the hip, lengthen out through the inner thigh, and then bring that left hip into the right inner thigh, and you're going to get a different stretch. Open and shut. Then, just to make it more intense, picking up that front toe. Picking up that front toe, stay tall, and you're going to feel everything just more intensely. And you can do the open and shutting on that side. Good. And then front view for this, so you're straight and forward, and I'm going to say shift forward, bring that knee next to the shoulder, and let the knee fall out to the side. So what we have here is a failure to communicate. No, I'm kidding. What we have here is opening this hip up. You're going to feel that whole hip girdle get hit. And usually the way I call it is I say lay the foot down underneath the face. Because that's what you do. You put that foot underneath your face and lay that knee down. If it's too much, you can come onto the knee and gently work it. You can back off a little bit and just push that knee out to the side, working that flexibility and that warm-up. Pardon me. Good. So then I'll say stack the front leg. That means getting the knee back up over the ankle, getting that foot off the floor underneath your face. Put your hand up on your knee and rotate. So you're pushing on the knee, rotating the shoulders, eyeballs to the ceiling, and you're going to feel that torquing, not twerking. I could see Pete Simke twerking right here in his basement this morning. I wonder if you're at the Apex Center. So, it was good talking to you last night, by the way. Rotating through, open the chest, stretch across the chest. Really lay it open. Feel that stretch. Let the whole body rotate. Breathe in. And then you pull your knuckles back into your forearms, and you can feel that stretch all the way through the forearm to the front of the forearm. Pull, 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 pull. Stretch it open. Because this, most of our jobs, right? Or we're on the phones all day, or we're driving all fucking day, or whatever we're doing, and this gets concave. So the idea of this one is to really crack open the sternum and crack open that whole chest girdle. And so big. Good. And then, did I miss something? I mean, if I did, I'll just add it some other time, but you got the theory. So we're going to switch feet. You reach back, switch, give yourself a little walking of the dog, so we're into that down dog. We're into that down dog, and pushing the shoulders towards the toes, driving the heels, walking them dogs, and then shift that left foot by the left hand. Working into that front end, just hanging out there. Now I'm feeling that opposite quad, right? Stretch and flex through that opposite quad. I can feel the hip opening up, the hip flexor, as my hips are low, and I'm flexed through that back leg. My knee is up and flexed, so I'm getting that stretch in the front of the body. I love this shifting in and out of the front end. I feel like it just jostles you the way you need to get jostled in order to loosen the fuck up. Good. Notice my chest is up. I'm actually up on my fingertips. Stupid carpet. I'm actually on my fingertips to get the height I want, right? So I'm up nice and tall in the chest, up on my fingertips to get it, and push those hips down. Good. Now straighten the front leg, just like we did on the other side. So you're straightening that front leg, getting a long line from and the toes pointed, getting a long line through the back of the leg, up into the hip, around the top. And then that's that opening and shutting bit noise where we open the hips to get a stretch on the inner thigh, and we close the hips to get a stretch on the outer calf, outer thigh, around the piriformis into where all those muscles connect up in the back of the ham, top of the hamstring, and the keister muscles. We're staying technical. Good. Now we pull that toe back, and if you need more space, you just wiggle that toe, and the heel will push out in front of you, or you wiggle the back foot, and that'll get you lower and lower and lower. So you're pulling that toe back. You're just going to feel all that same stuff a little more intensely, and then opening and shutting. I'm going to turn around again just in case you can't see it. You're pulling that toe back, and you're open the hip to the ceiling. Rotate up and open. You're going to get that inner thigh stretch. And then close the hip into the inner thigh of the front leg. Push that right hip into the left inner thigh. You're going to feel that around the outside of the calf and hamstring. Good. Shifting forward again. Getting low and letting that knee fall out to the side. I need a camera crew that circles me all the time. So I'm back in that plank with the knee right next to the shoulder, and then I lay my foot down. Lay that foot down right under your face. Right? You can stay on your palms for this one, nice and low. You can weave back and forth with the hips. Open it up. And you're getting a lot of plank work with this warm-up, right? You're getting a lot of strength work with the shoulders. You're getting a lot of core work with just holding these different planks. I mean, they're not full-on planks. You've got a foot dangling about, giving you support in other ways, but you're definitely engaged. Anyway, that knee is falling out to the side to open up that hip girdle. Oh, that kind of feels good too. Oh, it's a little different. Let's add this to the repertoire with the foot laid out, and then shift the hips forward and push back in the chest. Anyway, it's always fun to make it up as you go. So then you stack that foot, stack the leg back up over the ankle, put your hand on your knee, get the tripod going, right? You're not all close and in like this. You're kind of giving yourself some space so you can twist the lower lumbar. Twisting the lower lumbar is so vital and so important. That light is creating a star glow around my head. Maybe better off. All right. Where are we? I don't know. Oh, right. So hand up on the knee. Push through. Just getting so much of the rotation that you need. We're all snakes, right? We have this spine, this beautiful working spine. And one of the number one problems in the United States is everybody's got back problems. We just don't pay enough attention to the health of how those vertebrae interact with each other and give it the space and lengthen out and let that sneaky little snake, just a little sneaky little snake in your garden. If you haven't seen that YouTube viral video, it's worth every second. Sneaky little snake. So, hand up on that, rotate, really push on the hand on the knee so that the shoulders torque and you get that lower lumbar twist. Then again with the opening up, pull the knuckles of the top hand back into the forearm, open the chest, and luckily for everybody, doing this really slowly and thinking this all through is still going to be a workout, right? It's still going to be a good way to start your day. So just because it's a beginner video doesn't mean it ain't worth your time. All right, what do we got? The twist. Right, so now we're going to bring that foot back, and I'm going to say, walk the dogs again. Love the backs of the legs, like getting that stretch on. And you're going to slowly start working the toes towards your face, right? So you're going to step forward an inch, You see my feet? You're going to step forward an inch, drive that heel down, and push the hips back, and push the shoulders back into the toe. Step forward another inch. My inches are generous, but still small inching forward. Alternate the foot, drive the heel back, and draw back into the hips, pushing the shoulders towards the toes. And keep doing that. Step forward, drive back. Step forward, drive back. Really thinking about the lengths of the backs of the legs. And slowly get your feet walked up underneath your hips. Let's just hang there in lower lumbar worship. How about doing that? Alternate bending the knees so your hips drop. Getting a little action in this lower lumbar region. Let me pull up my pants, my pantalones. Okay, so we're hanging. This is a fun one. I'm going to explain it. So our feet are hip width apart, right? We're hanging folded, real loose from the lower lumbar. Our faces are below our knees. And now what we're going to do is we're going to flat shift to the right. So you're pushing the right hip past the right foot. Now the key is to keep the weight of your right big toe grounded into the ground and let that other leg kind of straighten and stabilize. You get your right hand way out, and you're going to feel that. You're going to feel that work around this hip in a different way than you did. So, shift the right hip out past the right foot, ground the right big toe into the ground, and get your weight out onto that right hand out to the right side. I can't wait to have Patricia watch this video and see if she can follow along. Now we're going to shift all the way back to the left. Get the left hip past the left foot, ground the left big toe into the ground, and you're going to feel the difference. You could be out here, but if your weight is on the pinky toes, you're not getting the same stretch as if you ground that big toe into the ground, and then you feel it engage through the back of the leg so much more. So, getting all the way to the left, ground that left big toe, get the left hip out past. You're going to feel that up the outside of the leg, around the hip, and get the weight out into the left hand. And it's hard to keep that left big toe grounded, by the way. It wants to pull right up off the floor. As soon as you push it down, though, you engage the muscles in a way that are advantageous. Well, hello, Moxie. So, where am I? Oh, so we're shifting back and forth. Great. We might do that a few times. Sometimes a little less intensely. Just kind of getting that shift on. Flat shift to the left and right. Sometimes I'll have you walking around. Not very often, but only because I don't think of it, not because it's not good. Walk the hands around and get that twist, keeping the toes to the front of the room and getting your eyeballs and your hands behind your feet, walking it around to the other side. Good rotation. Now it's the slow roll up. Everybody loves the slow roll up. Backing it up here. You're hanging from your hips. The first place you start for that is tucking the pelvis under. You're just trying to basically scoop your own crotch right into your face. Right? So the knees are slightly bent. We're cupping our pelvis underneath us. And what is that doing? It's creating space right through here. You're trying to open the book spine, right? You're trying to fillet those vertebrae open and stretch the ligaments between the spinal processes. So we're tucking our hips under, we're tucking our chin, and we're going to slowly roll up one vertebrae at a time. Let those arms hang, and you can feel it. You might go through it again. I was like, there's some hot spots in there. So you really tuck, 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 get your face scraped up as close to the front of your body as you can. Stretch all the vertebrae, the quadratus lumborum. Those are the two muscle columns that run about 2 inches to either side of your spine. It's a long, long piece, and that really loves to be stretched. As you roll up to the top, you want to push those shoulders down and away. So I'm going to get a little closer to the video here. So as you get to the top, you're going to push the shoulders away from the ears. You're going to unfurl by keeping the chin down and then pushing the sternum. Sternum is in the middle of your chest. Pushing your sternum through, pinching the shoulder blades. Open up the chest like that. And then let's bring those angel arms up. So what we're doing is stretching across the front of the body. Bring those hands behind you as you raise them. And just angel arms. And back bend into the top end. Grab those hands at the top. A little left and right. Dun, 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 dun. A little left and right. Shoulders. Shoulder reset. So, shoulder reset goes like this. Pay attention, Pete. And also, Wendy Brust is going to be doing this. It's been a while. So you pick your hands up in front of you with your pinkies facing each other. Normally we'll do this standing up, but you can do it sitting down too. Doesn't matter. So you bring your palms to the front. You open the thumbs out to the side. And immediately you're going to feel tension up here in the traps, in the scalenes. Pardon me? So elbows are pushed forward. I'm going to go side view here real quick because we're here low. And when I say elbows push forward, I mean it. Like I really want you to push the elbows forward, pull the thumbs back. And what that does is rotate the shoulder out and open, pulling across the pecs, pulling across into the scalenes, into the traps. Blah, blah, blah. So, start in the center, palms are up, thumbs are out to the sides. Open the thumbs out to the sides of the body. Push the elbows forward. Technically, your head should be forward facing, not to the side, right? And now, push the shoulder blades down. Push the shoulder blades down. You're going to feel a lot of tension in there. So, open it up, push the elbows forward, and drive the shoulder blades down the back. And give yourself a little side to side and feel the tension all through here. So this dynamic warm-up is supposed to set you up to work out, obviously. But the other thing it's supposed to do is counteract, although they say you can't really counteract all the hours you spend sitting. Like there's no amount of exercise that can counteract the kind of the negative effects on the body of just sitting all day. So take that for what it's worth. I don't know, that sounds a little fucking dumb. It's got to be some sort of like, what do you call that? Benefit. Benefit. So let's get those scalenes stretched out, shoulders down, lengthen out, feel the tension in there. You can even do one side at a time. You can put your hands in your shoulder and get the ear to the other side. Oh, love this one. I always forget to do it. Good. So that's a shoulder reset. Going slow like this, now I can't remember what's next. I remember what's next. All right, so we're doing that shoulder reset. We're probably standing up in the video, right? I'm sorry, in the live workout, we're standing up. Now we're going to do body circles. I know what happened. I adjusted for those planks, the floor work. Now I got to lift it back up for the big body circles. So we're nice and wide with the feet. Arms up and overhead. And what we're doing is we are trying to get the whole system warmed up. So we're going to drop in to the right leg. We're going to reach our hands and our whole upper body to the right corner of the circle. Then you're going to engage through the core, engage through the crotch. Get into that crotch, ladies and gentlemen. Get into the inner thigh, engage it, and drop down powerfully through the core. Reach out to the bottom, across, shifting from your right leg all the way to your left leg, bending low into that side lunge. Reach out to the right, sorry, that's the left, and stack the core. I say stack the core all the time. What the hell are you talking about, woman? What does stack the core mean? So the core is everything from your ankles to your chin, right? Ankles to the chin. And without the core, obviously this is the core of the core, and you're focusing in from the knees to basically your itty bitty titties, all right? And when I say stack it, you're starting up high, you lower, and as you're lowering, you kind of stack it. You engage through the inner thigh, you lift through the hoo-hoo, you engage through the abdominal muscles as you reach out with the arms. As you drop in, this is all connected, right? Connected and strong. Get low, your chest is down, shift all the way across the floor, reach out. Now I'm saying stack the spine on the other side. That means engage through the inner thigh, connect that pelvic floor, right, into a powerful place, connect the abs so that when you're coming out, reaching out, everything stacks. Boom. And you powerfully come up, out. So you're going to do that a few times. Nice and slow. Big body circles. Bringing it up and around. Happy Martin Luther King Day. I wish we could have our gym, but we don't. So we're going to do, I think we're going to do a workout on Tuesday and Friday of this week. So this one and then Tuesday and Friday. Maybe we'll just stick to the Wednesday, Friday. I'll talk to my crew. Good. You're just going around. And what does this do? Warms up the core muscles to integrate with each other. It also, through the top side, I forgot to coach through the top side. It also, as you come up out of that, you're laying back. You're stretching the abdominal muscles, and you're rotating through the spine, and you're working the flexibility of the shoulders. And you matrix that shit, right? So you come up and around, and you imagine there's bullets flying past your face as you lay back, and then drop into the other side. Now, obviously, we're going to switch directions. So switch, come back across to the right, stack the core, reach for the four corners, matrix, lay back, stretch the front of the body, rotate the spine, get down deep. Again, stack the core on the lift. Inner thigh, pelvic floor, abdominals, lay back, stretch through the belly, stretch through the chest, through the shoulders, and then sometimes I'm like, hyper-articulate those elbows. So that means I'm reaching with the low elbow. I'm kind of windmilling, over-exaggerating the reach of those elbows. Getting down low, shifting across the floor, stacking inner thigh, pelvic floor, abdominals, rotation. I love big body circles. Give high fives on big body circles. All right, lunges. Warm up lunges. So usually right after the big body circles, we'll come in and we'll drop. See, now we need our feet again. Gyms are easier than living rooms. That's all right. We take what we get. All right, so now you are in a high lunge here. Your back leg is straight behind you. And when I say lengthen out that wheelbase or push the back foot back, that's because you're all up in here and you're coming down, and we're not really getting a stretch here. We're getting the warm up, we're getting the quads warming up, but we're not getting any of the stretch. So you want to back that back foot up so that that wheelbase is nice and long. And you drop in, you want that knee right over the ankle, and push that back knee back, and you're getting a stretch in the front of that quad. You're getting a lot of activation in the core, and your heart rate's going to come up. And we like to go in and out of it. A little bit of a pump, a few times. Sometimes I'll say wiggle that back foot back, with a little extra space. Then we'll hold down low, push the back knee back. I feel like you can't see that. Marla, yes. Good. So if you're on it and you have a question, we're moving slowly here. This is for us, doing whatever. Throw out a question, or give me a high five, or give me some love. I'd love a heart. I'm serious. It matters. I don't know why, but it does. It's the way this online fitness shit works, I guess. So, get down low, And basically you're just warming up the system. You can straighten that front leg, drop it back down. Really try and open up the front of that back leg and keep those hips open. I feel good. And I'll ask you to do a whole bunch of different types of things in that lunge situation. So, again though, the knee does not go past that front ankle, right? You're here, you're just hanging out. We might do 3 to 5 full range of motion up and down. I'm getting hot. I don't know about y'all, but I'm getting hot. Hold down low, push that back knee back. You can put your hands on the front leg, shift forward, push the back knee back, feel that stretch. Sometimes we might go up into warrior. This is a warrior. Is this warrior? Oh, yoga. Don't fall over. Don't pull an inner thigh. Good. The other thing I've been doing lately that I like with the lunge is that sumo squat from the very beginning, but you just tuck that knee under and rotate and look to the back foot. Stay low, rotate, get that back knee under, rotate, look to the back foot. Basically staying here deep, working the quads, but slowly shifting all the way around. And that warms up everything. Nice. Shake it out. Get yourself a sip of water. Breathing. Any thoughts so far? We're not done. Don't worry. This is turmeric lemonade that I just spilled all over my mother's floor. Anyway, this is turmeric lemonade, and it's got turmeric, ginger, lemon, cayenne, sea salt, I think, and it'll tear your face off. It's so good. Really cuts the grease. And you can make, luckily, there's a store near Jane's place called Pelham Gourmet, and they make these damn drinks, and they're so expensive. You see, $6 for this little thing. But it's so delicious. All right. Any thoughts? Marla, do you have any thoughts? Welcome home. Pete, do you have any thoughts? Okay, good. You got some water, and we're going to go through some basic moves that you see every day in the workouts. Squats, all right? Let's start with squats. So, say you're injured. Say you're, well, first let's just go through squats. I'm going to lift this a bit. So, when you're doing squats, the idea is that we're trying to fire up the quads, right? But it's more than that. Every exercise is a core exercise. So, when you're approaching any exercise we're talking about, how do you engage the core first before you start into the movement? That would be best. Now, when we first start and we're not very strong, sometimes our squats, let's go with the classic. We're about hip width apart with the feet, and the first thing that a lot of people do because of tightness in the hamstrings and in the hips and in the lower lumbar is we drop kind of straight down, like squatting right here. And you notice I can't get that far down on that. I mean, I could, so if I pick up my heels, I could, but then I'm picking up my heels, right? So where I want you to be is I want you to engage. You want to pick up the pelvic floor. It's just like stopping peeing. Midstream, stop peeing, which is hard as fuck to do, by the way. I had a horrible accident doing that. I was in the middle of peeing in a parking lot, and I tried to cut it off midstream because somebody came up over the hill right where I was. I thought I had cut it all off, and I pulled my pants up. I didn't. It didn't cut it all off, and I ended up pissing myself. Actually, Jane, you were there for that. I was at a race in college. Memories. So, in the squat, you're going to push back into the hips first, right? Core is up. You want to push back into the hips first before you start coming down, and your weight is in your heels. I'm really not doing well with the feet. That's better. You don't need to see my head. Good. So you're coming back into the heels. Your weight is back. Your butt is back. Your core is strong. You're thinking about the inner thighs and outer thighs and quads working together, and you're pushing back. And the idea is to get the hips as low as the knees, if at all possible, and then raise up, lift up through the hoo-hoo, lift up through the hoo-hoo first, and then drive through the legs. Now, we're doing quick exercises. Are you thinking about all those things all the time? Probably fucking not. But that's what I'm there for during the workout. Be like, all right, let's get our hoo-hoos up. Let's get those testicles up. Here's a front view. So let's do it with me. You're going to lift up through the core. You're going to shift back into the hips. You're going to keep the legs fairly parallel. You're going to drop down, trying to get the hips as low as the knees. Good, I don't know what that was. Good, hips as low as the knees and all the way back up, all right? So that's the flexibility piece. Hips back, drop into the knee, or as low as the knees, keep the core strong, and lift up through the core before you drive through the legs, all right? Now, obviously, there's different ways to do this. We have needle squats right next to each other. Feet are right next to each other. Hands up and overhead, I will do a lot. So, in workouts, when it says squat, arms OH, that means arms up and overhead. Now, why would we do that? Flexibility, that's why. Because if you ain't flexible, you ain't strong. If you ain't strong, you ain't strong. I was going to go really well and didn't. It's all good. So, arms up and overhead, needle squat. And when I say needle squat, that's because I want everything nice and tight to the center, right? We want to pull into the center. Arms up and overhead. What that does is work on flexibility. Butt back, dropping down, getting the hips as low as the knees if at all possible. And if you can keep the hands straight up, you're working on the flexibility through the upper back, right? Now, a lot of you can't get down. Your ass is down to your knees. That's okay. Start and initiate the movement as if you can, right? Don't do it differently just because you can't do the full range of motion. So there you are. You're brand new. You're working on flexibility. Arms are up and overhead, needle squat. And you can only come down to here. That's fine. Keep your damn hoo-hoo up, all right? Arms are straight up and overhead, and as you drop down, you'll notice your hands want to come forward because of your lack of flexibility or strength in the upper body. So, by keeping them up, that nice line from the hips to the fingertips, you're actually focusing not just on the strength of the quads, not just on the core, but also on the strength of the lower lumbar, the mid-back, the thoracic back, flexibility up through the chest as you drop into those hips. Then, of course, you've got the sumo squat as well, which is much wider. We talked about that in the warm-up, but say we're doing sumo squat hops or sumo squat to knees. You're just really thinking about sumos, opening it up, because we're trying to get flexibility in the inner thighs, down low, and we might hop, right? Might hop out of that, point the toes, coming on down. Go ahead and hop with me. So, good God, I hope people are doing it with me, not just watching me do this. Sumo squats. Like I said, we did that in the warm-up, nothing too crazy. And we might go into sumo squat and knee lift, right? Sumo squat and knee lift. Or we do the sumo squat to kick in the warm-up. Oh, we didn't do any travel moves. No travel moves. Sorry about that. But they're a little more self-explanatory. Or maybe I'll get back to those. So sumo squat, travel move, you're down low, you skip to the side and kick and come back down. You skip to the side and kick and come back down. In the workouts, I like to mix and mingle all those exercises. Well, that's a travel move. So that's a good one. Sumo squat to kick. I'm going to do it one more time. Start low. Do it at home with me. You're going to skip this foot to where the first foot is, kick, and come back down. Skip, kick, come back down. Skip, kick, come back down. Good. Then we have skaters. I'm not going to try to kill myself, so I'm going to roll up this rug. You can take a break at home if you need, but next one we're going to do is skaters, because there's so many awesome things you can do with skaters. You'll remember this one, y'all. I'm talking to mostly Pete and Wendy right now, but skaters. I think you need to see my feet. So in a skater, you want to start with the feet together, right? And then in slow-mo, it would be a big step, and then shift, push that back foot behind you, curtsy, touch, open up. So this is the deep skater. You big, wide step, reach behind you with that back foot, get down low with the hand, and up. So it's fluid motion, and you're coming down and low. Big wide step, get that foot behind you. Big wide step, foot behind you. Big curtsy. Sometimes I say light and lively. Light and lively looks a little more like this. Do it with me now. Jump, touch, jump, touch, jump, touch, jump, touch. Very nice. That's a light and lively skater. The slow motion one is where you come down, and we do each one fully to the floor before we go all the way to each side. Yeah, those are the two basic variations of the skaters. Super fun, great for inner thigh strength, quad strength, coordinating the core from the toes to the neck. Big high skips is a big one. That's pretty self-explanatory. I'm not going to waste time on that. Side shuffle, you know that. But in the side shuffle, make sure that your arms stay strongly out. When we're like this, side shuffling, heart rate gets up, for sure, right? But we're not maximizing the upper body aspect of this. The heater is just pumping heat into this room. Whew! I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die! Oh, that's nice. Little aeration. Jesus. All right. Squats. That kind of took a long time. Lunges. So, whenever we're doing lunges in the workout, there's some sort of variation on them, right? So, but the idea is we always want that knee to be behind or right over top of the ankle. And there's a few different things I like to do. One of them is where you shift forward slowly, lift up that back foot. And right now I'm engaging through the ass here and the core. And then I slowly come through, get the knee up high, drop down into that skater nice and low. Lunge nice and low. My knee is behind my ankle. And I shift forward and I lift the back heel up by pressing through the heel of the stability leg, flexing the ass, working the balance, and come up and through with the knee again. So I'm going to do it again this way. Nice deep lunge, shift forward. Notice I'm going to push through my heel here. I'm going to keep this core strong so I can lift the back heel with this leg. Now I'm flexed through the ass. I come through, work the balance, and drop down into that nice long wheelbase again. Really working the stretch, the strength. Shift forward, drive through the bottom heel, lift, flex the butt, work the balance, come on through to the other side. Then we have skipping lunges. This is a picture of my crotch in the video. You know, it's hard. Living room. So, skipping lunges. Wherever you are, you're going to go into the lunge like so, and then you're going to come up into the skip and lunge, and skip and lunge. Yep, so I'm skipped. And lunge, up for the skip and lunge, right? The other thing you can do if you don't have space is you can just do one side for 5 and then one side for 5 on the other. So you're here, and you skip, and you drop back down. And you skip, and you drop back down. It's really just the lunge with the hop, and that's going to work in a small space. Skipping lunges in a small space, just do one side at a time, one side at a time. What else for lunges? Oh, oftentimes, say we're doing an exercise with the lunging, with weights or band or anything like that. You want to start on your weak leg. It's a balance exercise. We want to, when your energy is the highest, that's when you want to put that energy into the weak leg. And this is for any single-sided exercise. And I often forget to say it, but single-sided exercise, do your weak side first, whether it's your upper body, lower body, anywhere. Weak side first. Can't remember what I was going to do. But anyway, you're here in a nice solid lunge, and you're doing weights, you're doing bands, you're doing Superman presses. We can do, well, doesn't really matter. I'll make them up as I go anyway. But that'll give you what you need for the most part on the lunge. Planks. Okay. Oh, that's it. On the modifications. So on all those things, on all those lunges, if you don't get as low as I do, who fucking cares? If you're up here lunging and skip lunging up in this zone, you are still going to be activating through the core. And what's interesting is as you get stronger, you get deeper, right? And you'll notice, say you're losing weight, and you start out really at very shallow lunges. You're not super deep on them, you're up here. Well, guess what? The fitness is going to grow up your leg, because that's, on that shallow bit, you're pretty much only using the bottom part of your quad right here, right? And then the deeper you go, the more you're using the quads further up into the hoo-hoo. And then when you start doing everything from this low and keeping the core lifted, that's when you start working on those inner thighs. Ladies, because we love that look, that strong flexed quad look. All right, planks. Planks we do a lot of. Why? They're one of the best core exercises you can do. Now, when I say in plank, push the shoulders away from the spine and ears. So this is how our normal, like a lot of people are in plank and their shoulders are pulled back like this. I want you to flex out. Push your shoulders away, like flap your wings, right? Get big in the shoulders, flex through the shoulders. So, if you're in plank, like so, and you're like this, and your shoulders are slooping and your hips are below your shoulders, between your feet and your shoulders, you're not building strength, you're putting pressure on these vertebrae. You're putting pressure on your shoulder joints, and you're not activating the muscles to actually lift you out of that space, get flexed, get big, get huge, right? So, in your planks, really push through the palms. Don't let those shoulders pinch your shoulder blades. Push them away. Give some space in there. I would rather your hips be too high than too low. This puts strain on that lower back, stretches through the belly, but it doesn't engage through the belly, right? So I would rather have this, and the reason is because from here, you're still working that chest. You're still able to push those shoulder blades away. You're not causing any undue stress. And as you get stronger, you can shift forward, keeping those shoulders pushed away from the spine, and then slowly your core is going to get strong enough to be here in this plank. And we do a shit ton of stuff in the plank. Pete on the phone last night, he's like, holy shit, I can't even remember half the stuff. Exactly, right? That's what this one's about. So, in plank, we do a shit ton of stuff. One of the things I like to do is take that warm-up move, but do it quicker. So, where you're pushed away through the shoulders, and you're just bringing the knee up to the shoulder, the foot next to the hand, and you're just alternating switches, right? That's a great core exercise. We're going to go through out, out, under, under, right? This is one of everybody's favorite. I can hear the groan right now, right? So this is for stretching, but also core work, also upper body strength. I can really taste that turmeric tea coming up, or whatever, the turmeric lemonade. All right, so out, out, under, unders. We're here like so. We're going to kick it out straight-legged. Why? Because it hurts. That's why. So we're kicking that leg out to the side. Different than the warm-up stretches, right? This is out to the side. You're pulling the toe back. You're getting that stretch, but you're kind of also, I forget what I'm trying to say there. Usually we do them quick, but sometimes we do them slow. Pull that toe back and switch out. And I like to take the weight off of the side that is kicked out because it gets a little more stretch. And then under, you kick the leg underneath the body. Can you see that? No, maybe the other side. Kick the leg underneath the body. I come up onto my fingertips and I need a little space. But my leg is straight and my foot is laid down on its side. Right? Laid down on its side. And you're going to feel the stretch through the outside of the leg, around the piriformis, around the hip. So it's, all right, where did that one? So out, and I unweight this side, feel that stretch, out, under, lay the foot down, fold the inner thigh, fold the upper hip into the inner thigh, and under, good. Again, all that work in the plank, in the core, getting the stretches, out, out, under is one of my favorite. I probably underuse it. That's fine. Push the shoulder blades away from the ears. And, I mean, there's all sorts of things. We're going to go down into the elbow plank for the hip over, right? So if you remember the hip over, your elbows are down, your hips are a little high, right? And you are laying down on the sides of your feet, shifting forward into the shoulders, straightening out the body, kiss the hip to the floor, up, switch sides, lay the feet down, shift forward, straighten out the body, and lift straight up. So you are doing basically side crunches in a plank. Like so. Now, I'm going to do the other view. The first thing that will happen for most people, they'll go into that elbow plank and the hips will come over and one of the elbows will come off the ground. From the weird angle view to show that. So you're up, and this is what usually happens. So our butts are high, and that is fine. You're going to rotate and see how my elbow just came off the floor to make it easier? That's not what you want. You want to keep those elbows touching the floor so that as your hips come around and touch, that is a long line from the elbow around the back, over the side to the opposite hip to the one touching the ground. That is a long, lengthy stretch, right? And remember the Golgi complex that we talked about earlier. When your quads and your core is flexing to lift you, concentric movement, it's sending a signal to relax to the opposite group of muscles, right? So that's the beauty of dynamic stretching. I shouldn't say dynamic stretching. That's why it's called dynamic stretching. Because by the flexation of one group of muscles, you're sending a chemical that says, relax, lighten the fuck up, chill out, release. And that's why it works. So, let's do it together. Elbow plank. Hips are up in the air. You come down on the side of the foot. You lengthen out, straighten the body. Hip touches down. Both elbows stay on the ground. Touch them. And you just keep flexing. Am I talking too much? Probably. I think I just heard my mother say yes. Mom, are you saying I'm talking too much?
Excuse me?
Never mind. You talk too much. Good. So elbow plank for the hip over. Great. That's kind of the trickiest one. Other than that, we'll be in elbow plank for things like highs and lows. And you always want to remember to alternate anything like highs and lows, high and low plank, so you're not going 20 on one side and realize that you missed the other side. Unless I say we're going to do one side at a time. So drop down easy, elbow, shift, and lift. Drop down easy, elbow down, shift, and lift. All right, that's a common one. We don't do that one too much. How are we feeling? What's next? Planks we do. You push it here. We have a phone call right now. Skip overs, hops. Oh, hops. That was really annoying. I'm sorry. That was my sister-in-law, which that could be a problem. Should I call her? I wonder what's going on. So hops. Heels down, all right? So when you're doing any hops, you want to make sure that your weight is grounded in the heels as you drop down and you hop. Get those heels all the way down. Just because I'm getting this low doesn't mean you have to. It might look like this for you. Still get the hips down. Still get the heels down. You want to make sure when you're doing a jumping jack, make sure you get the heels down on every jumping jack. So let's do a few hops together. Get the heels down. I'm just doing a kind of a basic, a little bit wider than hips. You're coming down into the squat. Get nice and deep. Lift the core. Push up. I think I need to answer that. Hey, Rami. Oh, who's this? Hello, Ellen. Hi. You don't have school today, do you? No. So I'm in the middle of my fitness video for the morning. Do you mind if I call you back and we can play a little later? All right, sounds good. What time are you free all day, or do you have anything going on? Free all day. Excellent. Well, I will call you after I'm done with this video. All right, I love you. Bye. I don't know what time it is, but I think I'm going to do another one of these videos, not one of the live workouts. I mean, it is a live workout, but not one of the workouts. I'm going to do another one of these for the rest of the exercises. I feel like we've been going a good amount of time today. I don't even know what time it is. Please give a comment for me down below. Let me know what you liked, what you didn't like. Did anything give you, make you question your sanity or, think I lost my mind? That was pretty basic. Nothing crazy in there, though. And what else? Drink your lemon water. Get on that shit. I know I have to. I've been doing shitty at that. So doing that lemon water with the with the apple cider vinegar. I bought aloe. Actually, maybe I'll do one of those videos today. And the next thing I'm going to do is talk about fitness through food, right? So when I broke my back, I couldn't put my feet on the ground. I couldn't exercise. I couldn't do a core exercise. I couldn't do shit. And I freaked out because, I'm shallow and vain, and I really didn't want to gain any weight. And I was talking to somebody about this last night, Tim Mills, and so I jumped on food like nobody's business. And what I found out with no movement is that purely with food, my musculature got stronger. I got leaner. I got ripped through just food. So I want to talk about that later. I need your affection, so please give me a heart, a love, a high five, any sort of feedback. Tell me I'm awesome. I'm hungry for attention. And also that helps me get other people to engage with the content. And that's what this video group is all about, is pulling people in, creating a safe place, falling in love with each other, all sorts of things. Slaps on asses. I really want to organize some group workouts. I know there's a ton of you in Colorado who could get together on a Saturday morning and do these workouts. We could live stream it. Obviously, it's what I do. So, have a beautiful day. Later, Marla. Later, Jane. I see Pete's off. He probably had to go to work. He was like, how long is this fucking video? I don't have a clock anywhere. I love you people. Peace.